Be a Good Detective, Solve the Case of Oral Reading Fluency by Katie Buffington, Kayla Eccles, and Whitney Willis. What is reading fluency? Teachers who were interviewed on this topic had a hard time coming up with an answer. One teacher said fluency is reading at a good pace. Another said it means to read with expression. Yet another teacher stated, I don't know how to explain it, but I know it when I hear it. To help students become fluent readers, teachers must understand the definition of fluency. According to the International Reading Association, reading fluency is the ability to project the natural pitch, stress, and juncture of the spoken word on written text automatically and at a natural rate. Fluency has been characterized as a natural outcome of reading instruction instead of a contributing factor. Therefore, reading fluency instruction has become a difficult skill to teach. Reading fluency instruction is viewed as a mystery, and educators are the detectives working to solve the case. In order to be successful in solving this case, teachers should remember 3 important clues or characteristics related to fluency. These clues include recognizing the importance of reading rate, automatic word recognition, and expression used during their reading. After teachers have identified these 3 clues, they must decide on a method for solving the case of developing reading fluency in a way that provides students with positive and rewarding reading experiences. Effective methods for teaching reading fluency. One method is modeling. Teachers model good reading techniques through uninterrupted readings of storybooks, chapter books, newspapers, language experience charts, and poetry selections. It is especially important for teachers to model oral reading fluency for their students struggling with this element of reading. Paired oral readings are also a way to implement fluency instruction in the classroom. During paired oral reading, students are paired with a partner. Then passages are read silently by each student. Finally, students take turns reading the passage 3 times orally. Repeated reading is another popular method. The repeated reading technique suggests that fluent readers are those who decode text automatically, leaving attention free for comprehension. This method consists of reading a short, meaningful passage several times until a satisfactory level of fluency is reached. The procedure is then repeated with a new passage. Since the main purpose of repeated reading is to build fluency, it is important to be able to define fluency in ways that are observable and measurable. The repeated reading method can also be used with the support of audio. The student reads the passage silently while listening to the tape-recorded narration using earphones. After several rereadings, the audio support is no longer necessary and the student reads the story without help. So that students will understand why rereading is done, a comparison can be done of how athletes develop skills in their sport. Athletes spend considerable time practicing basic skills until they develop speed and smoothness at their activity. Repeated reading uses the same type of practice. As less attention is required for decoding, more attention becomes available for comprehension. Therefore, rereading both builds fluency and enhances comprehension. Lesson is similar to using the repeated reading method. During this type of lesson, the teacher begins by focusing on comprehension, continues by leading into a discussion about the elements of expression seen throughout the text, and ending with the student's performance of the text. Another developmentally appropriate and authentic instructional method for practicing fluency is with poetry and reader's theater. These highly predictable selections that have easy rhymes and rhythms make success easy for struggling readers. It is important to remember that when using poetry, reader's theater, or plays, you should end with a performance. Just as athletes or musicians practice for the purpose of presenting their best work to the audience, so should children. An advantage to reader's theater is that students do not have to spend time making props, costumes, sets, etc. However, integrating these tasks into a play can also be fun for students because it helps them to take ownership in their production. Reader's Theater is designed for a model of 30-minute daily sessions with performances monthly or even weekly. When students were asked who is the best reader in your class, they named a young boy. They were then asked why this child was the best reader. The top response was because he is the fastest reader in our class. Similarly, in a study led by Dr. Timothy Rosinski in 1999, teachers were asked to identify struggling readers in their classrooms. In the study, the students were asked to read a passage on their grade level and one on the identified reading level as provided by the teacher. Dr. Rosinski found that the students knew approximately the same percentage of the words in both passages and read with the same amount of expression. The only difference was the speed of their reading. Thus, he concluded that speed really does matter. When students have difficulty recalling what they are reading, they get frustrated and tend to stop. Since we know that the amount of time spent reading is a direct correlation to reading success, this only multiplies the problem. The first step to improving reading fluency is to improve the amount of sight words or automatically recognizable words in a student's vocabulary. The next step is choosing books that are a good fit for the reader. Books that are too difficult or have too many difficult vocabulary words can have an adverse effect. There are many different ways to pinpoint student reading levels, and most school libraries now have books categorized according to the reading level. Ideas for improving reading fluency include choral reading, paired reading, echo reading, and talking books. Another fun way for students to practice reading is with songs. It is important for teachers to expand their definition of reading. When teaching songs to children, if the text is available to them as they sing, then they are reading.
On that first Thanksgiving Day, pick the corn and pick the beans, pick the squash and other greens. It is harvest time, you see. Come and
Fluency is an important part of reading instruction. Without fluency in reading, students will never be fully successful. A combination of speed, accuracy, expression, and comprehension is needed for students to be successful readers.